Hey everyone, today I want to make a mock based off The Mandalorian. The third season of this show was a bit more divisive than the other two, and while I can admit there were some parts lacking, I still thoroughly enjoyed it. One episode I think everyone liked though was The Mines of Mandalore. It was such a cool episode, and that's why I want to make a mock based on it. The specific scene I wanted to depict was when Mando walked into the sacred waters to be cleansed of his sins. To start this mock, I built the water first. This is going to be a larger portion of the mock, so I wanted to get it out of the way and determine how much of the base plate I want to have to work with land. I know placing all this water isn't that interesting, but I felt that there needed to be a good amount of it to kind of offset from the steps and the big entrance to the waters. Normally with mocks, I wait until the end to put the border on, but in this case, I needed it to keep my water in place. Using the snot technique here like I am doesn't really allow me to connect it anywhere, so it's just going to be kind of sliding around and loosely held in place by some bricks on the side of it. With that set up, I can move on to the stairs leading into the water. To do this, I use a lot of scaffolding bricks and plates to kind of make an area that I can build on later. The stairs have a nice area started, so after that I can move behind it to the main platform, where Bo-Katan and Grogu will be. As you can see, I start using black bricks around the edge so they can function both as a border and a stable structure for the floor to lay on. With that part complete, I can move on to the rest of the floor. I grabbed a few of my bigger plates and just stacked them on top of a few bricks, and that's all it took. It fit perfectly and now allowed me to add some plates on top to smooth it out. The first area I started with is the stairs. For the most part, these are fairly simple and I just put down a lot of lawn tiles on them. I left a few studs exposed in the middle though to make sure the Mandalorian had a place he could stand on. On the sides, I add some wedges and different pieces to make sure the stairs aren't too uniform because they need to look old. The floor here is supposed to be worn down, so you can see I use some extra pieces to accomplish this. With a nice staircase, I can now work on the platform above where Grogu and Bo-Katan will be. The wedge pieces I think work really nice since you can put them on the floor and they look like cracks. Another thing I do to make sure the build is interesting is add a couple dark gray pieces so it adds a little more color variety. I did the same thing with the stairs, and it may seem unimportant, but it does help break up the mock so it's not light gray only. With the ground fully finished, I can start to work on the back wall where they entered. The doorway they entered is angled, so I used some inverted slopes to recreate that. Using those as my reference, I built a wall around it, and I added a few extra details and a few slopes to, again, add that dilapidated look to it. It's hard to tell from the back, but you will see in a second when I flip it around to work on the front. I finished adding those few extra details to the wall and some extra debris around the rest of the mock. After adding a few of those smaller details, I can tell it's really close to being done. Moving back around to the other side, I add a black backing to the wall to act as a border, but also to give the illusion that the door leads somewhere. I did notice though I didn't like how the studs looked on the top of the black piece on the door, and so I made sure to cover those up. After that, there's only one thing left to add, and that's some bigger pieces of rock and debris. I build these away from the mock and will just set them in when I'm done. I normally don't like to do this, I normally like to only build in the mock, but I just tried a different approach here. I don't do anything too complex, I just add a bunch of different slope pieces together to get some good looking boulders. I mostly add these to the water like you can see in the show, as it also helps make that area look a little more interesting as it was super flat before. All the bricks for this MOC have been laid, except there is actually one more thing I still need to build, and that is Grogu's pram. I make a simple little build, but it gets the point across fairly clear, and that's all I really need. Now with that complete, I can add him to the MOC along with Mando and Bo. The MOC is now finally done and I really like it. It's not necessarily one of my favorite ones I've done, but I think part of that probably has to do with the fact that this isn't an action scene and so it's a little more boring. I'm still proud of my work here, but I think the lack of color and basic structure makes it a little less exciting to me. Which is fine, this is what the scene looks like and I don't really fault the MOC for that. Besides that, I think I accomplished most of what I was hoping for here. I think the platform maybe could have used some bigger debris like the water. Overall though, I think it still looks good. I just think this scene doesn't translate quite as well into LEGO. It's a cool scene and everything, and I think I got it to look good and accurate. But compared to other MOCs I've done, this scene just isn't quite as entertaining. That actually wraps it up for this video though, so let me know what you guys think down below. Hope you all enjoyed, and don't forget to like and subscribe. If any of you have any other MOCs you'd like to see me do, let me know that in the comments as well. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.